Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're looking at a cultural milestone today that, well, honestly, it might make some of us feel just a little bit nostalgic. We are talking about Lindsay Lohan's 40th birthday. I mean, it seriously feels like just yesterday she was the undisputed queen of the early 2000s, right? Ruling the box office, dominating the tabloids, the whole shebang. But she just recently celebrated the Big 40 out in the Hamptons, and it gives us this absolutely incredible opportunity to look back at the journey that actually brought her here. We're going to map out this incredible transformation, going from a highly scrutinized child star all the way to a grounded, joyful mom who is currently staging literally one of the most highly anticipated Hollywood comebacks of the decade.
On her actual birthday, July 2nd, she didn't just post some standard glamorous photo. She shared a deeply emotional reflection with her fans. She wrote, "40, grateful for every chapter that brought me here." She really expressed this immense gratitude for the laughter, the love, the mistakes, and the people who stood by her through a life lived, let's be real, entirely in the public eye. She declared that this next decade just feels different, more grounded, more intentional, and honestly, looking exactly how she chose to celebrate, it's pretty clear she means exactly that.
A few days later, that intentional grounding was on full display at her celebration in Sag Harbor, New York. She hosted it at the elegant Lee Bilbocott restaurant, but she kept it super intimate, just about 60 of her closest friends and family. And her look? Absolutely stunning. She wore this beautiful silver floral fringe Oscar de la Renta dress. Guests sat down to a surf and turf dinner, followed by, of course, a massive pink floral cake. It was a really tight-knit group. Actually, fun fact, Steph and Asha Curry were there, and they are the godparents to Lindsay's young son, Luai. It was just a gorgeous night, totally defined by heartfelt speeches and genuine celebration.
So, to really wrap our heads around this transformation, Lindsay actually did something super interesting. She broke down her life decade by decade on social media. It gave us this fascinating first-hand perspective of what it was actually like to grow up as Lindsay Lohan. We're going to use her exact framework for this next bit to understand her evolution, starting right at the very beginning. The 10s, working and child star. The 20s, fast-paced fame and scrutiny. Her 30s, marriage, motherhood, and peace. And now, her 40s, intentional and joyful living.
Looking back at that first decade, you really have to remember that her childhood was heavily defined by soap operas, moving between sets, and just massive early successes. She noted, "I was already working before I even understood what discipline meant." I mean, she's been in this business since she was 18 months old. Try to wrap your head around that. She recalls quietly finding pieces of herself while playing all these different parts. By the time a massive hit like The Parent Trap came around, there was an innocence, sure, but also a deep instinct that acting wasn't just play for her. It was really her life's purpose right out of the gate. Then, moving into her 20s, she offers a raw, honest look at the chaotic blur of fame, alongside just immense personal pressure. She wrote, "Everything moved fast, often faster than I could process. Underneath it, a girl still figuring herself out. Movies like Mean Girls completely blew up. They became the voice of an entire generation, and pushed her into a spotlight that was blindingly bright. But she openly admits here that everything was just moving way too fast. Beneath all the magazine covers and the immense expectations, she was literally just a girl trying to figure herself out, learning through her mistakes while the entire world watched and tried to dictate exactly who she should be." And the contrast between those 20s and where she is right now in her 30s and 40s, it is striking. Back in the day, that lifestyle was heavily defined by fast-paced fame, excessive partying, erratic behavior, and relentless media scrutiny. But today, her life looks entirely different. She focuses on sober living. She follows the principles of the Blue Zone diet, prioritizing lean proteins. She's embraced very intentional boundaries, and she actually spends a lot of her time cooking classic Italian family recipes. It's this complete 180-degree shift from just surviving in the spotlight to truly thriving in a balanced, mindful routine.
10 years. That is exactly how long she has been sober. And this is an absolutely vital turning point in reclaiming both her health and her career. Lindsay has been super open about her past struggles, admitting that when she was younger, that fast-paced lifestyle took a really severe toll. But by embracing counseling and building a strong support network, she traded in the destructive habits of her past for a clear, focused, and healthy present. 10 years of sobriety is a monumental achievement. Honestly, it proves to anyone listening that taking control of your health can absolutely lay the foundation for a completely renewed life.
And this 40th birthday celebration also brought about a really beautiful full-circle moment, highlighting a beautifully mended family dynamic. If you were following pop culture news back in 2007, you probably remember that her parents, Michael and Dina Lohan, went through a notoriously bitter, highly publicized divorce. It was incredibly tough on the whole family, yet at this intimate birthday party, they were both there. They celebrated right alongside her, peacefully coexisting as she blew out her candles.
So how did she actually mend those ties? Well, she realized that as a child, you can easily get way too immersed in your parents' issues. To find her own peace, she explained, you just have to really step back and let your parents do what they do and figure out everything for themselves. Setting those intentional boundaries is exactly why they can all celebrate together today as a united family. I think it's a brilliant reminder for all of us, right? Sometimes creating just a little bit of distance and letting go of trying to fix other people is actually the most loving thing you can do for your family and, most importantly, for yourself.
Moving right along into her 30s, she found profound peace by starting her own family, which fundamentally changed what mattered most to her. In 2022, she married Badr Shamus, and then in July of 2023, they welcomed their son, Luai. Lindsay says that finding this deeper kind of love entirely reshaped her priorities. All that noise from her 20s, it was completely replaced by the quiet, fulfilling joy of building a home and experiencing what she calls a decade of deep love.
And this brings us to perhaps the most defining realization of her recent years. She said, "I'm no longer searching for who I am. I'm living it, choosing family, choosing purpose, and creating a life that feels as good as it looks." I absolutely love this statement. After spending her childhood acting as other people and her 20s navigating a world that constantly judged her every move, she has finally arrived at complete self-assurance. She's making active choices now. She's choosing her family, choosing her purpose, and intentionally creating a life that feels just as good on the inside as it looks on the outside.
But don't get it twisted, she isn't just focusing on family. She is stepping right back into the future with major projects that bring her career completely full circle. She's building her career back up, but this time with intention and alignment. Right now, she is actually filming the Hulu miniseries Count My Lies, alongside heavy hitters like Shireen Woodley and Kit Harington. And, of course, she is returning to her roots. She's reuniting for the highly anticipated sequel, Freakier Friday. She is choosing stories that connect, proving to everyone that a comeback can absolutely happen, but on your own terms.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. With a massive Hollywood comeback underway and a solid, joyful foundation at home, what will Lindsay Lohan conquer next in this grounded, intentional new era? She survived the intense scrutiny of child stardom, achieved a solid decade of sobriety, and built a beautiful, peaceful life. As she so perfectly put it, the best chapters aren't behind her. They're the ones she's stepping into right now. It's a truly powerful reminder for all of us that it is never, ever too late to rewrite your own story. So what do you think her next chapter holds?